Hey everybody, and welcome along to this week's edition of the Irish Golfer Podcast. Peter Finnan here, joined in studio by Ronan McNamara.
There are things.
And online by Mark McGowan.
Good morning.
How are you getting on? All right?
Living the dream. Living the dream.
Living the dream. Did you get up to much over the weekend?
Watched a lot of golf.
Yeah, I watched a bit of the golf as well. Watched a lot of football. Played a bit of golf, so busy.
Yeah. I, for my sins last week, went to Portugal trying to get out of the cold here, and it pissed rain all week in Portugal. Got 4 games of golf in, but yeah, didn't bring any wet gear. Didn't get to wear many shorts. So yeah, I might as well have been in Sligo for the week. There was one of the lads actually out, yeah. He was prepping for the West. Didn't really go too well.
Whereabouts were you?
Bit of rain.
In Quinta del Lago. Stayed in Quinta del Lago and played the 2 courses there, and played Monterey and Laranjal as well. So no, it was good. It's good to get just stack the golf in. You know yourself, has to be done. It was good crack.
Everybody listening is absolutely heartbroken that you had to put up with a little bit of rain, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, stop. Right. Well, before we get stuck in, big shout out to Flowgas, who are sponsoring the podcast, supporting Irish golf at every level, from Golf Ireland right up to supporting our touring professionals. I see new sponsorships in place with Alex Maguire, who got a new apparel drop during the week, and Stuart Grehan, who was in with you last week, Ronan, when I was away, I believe.
All the good crack happens when you're away, Pete. So he was in on Wednesday, and we had a good chat. We put it up as a podcast, so it should be out soon, hopefully. Yeah,
in the next couple of weeks. He'll be on the cover of the next magazine, I'm thinking. So yeah, we'll plenty of stuff to get stuck into anyway aside from that. So yeah, where better? PGA Tour, big silence, and ooh, happy learned to putt. This got interesting.
It did. It was like the Scottie of old, the Scottie of 2 years ago. Anyway, for sure, like the way he just powered on away from the field and left everyone sort of playing their own little tournament to see who could finish second place. It's an interesting one. His putting, obviously a lot better, 5th in strokes gained for the week. Like it just shows if he puts, anyway decent, he's going to be up there, and if he puts well, he'll probably win. He was really, really solid though over the weekend. I think he's 16 out of 16 putts hold from inside 5 or 6 feet or something on the final day. Yeah, which obviously is just shouldering everybody off the ball there in that regard. Look, ball striking is as good as he always is. He just turned it on with the putter, the mallet putter. Rory told him to use that a few weeks back as well.
Yeah, I think that's a bit bullshit.
That's a bit nonsense. Yeah, he's putting in a lot of work with Phil Kenyon. You can see some changes to his stroke and changes to his setup and his address position. And look, he's been frustrated. He was frustrated during the week as well. I think on Friday or Saturday he was nearly crying over the putter, shouting at the crowd and everything as well, things like that. All it takes is a day though for it all to turn around, and you think you can hold everything.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy to think, like, statistically, you look at his stats over the last couple of years, he's just off the charts, and putting was the only thing. Like, it's going to be, and like, if he can keep these stats up and add putting into that, like we said last year, if he became average, when we were looking at last year's stats at the end of last year, like, if he literally just got to, like, the 50th best putter on tour, he would win doing handstands. And then he goes and he finishes 5th overall in strokes gained putting, with 1st in every other metric going this week. And he actually led the putting stats in the final round. Like, nobody can compete with him. When you even hear McIlroy coming out in his presser afterwards, we'll get to a bit of Rory in a while, but like, Rory just come out and just, his comments were his ball striking is honestly on another level to compare to anyone else out here. We knew if he started to hold putts, then this sort of stuff would happen. Like, there's not many other sports that you get guys that are meant to be like Rory, his, number one contender, and guy trying to take the world number one, just coming out and openly admitting, yeah, this guy's so far better than the rest of us here. He's miles ahead, and when he starts holding putts, he's going to go even further ahead.
Well, that's exactly the way it is, because looking back at the last signature event that he played at the Genesis, he finished 10th. He's 9th off the tee, 1st around the green, 51st in putting, and now just turn that back around, like, it just shows you.
He's so consistent. Like, it's just reeling through his consistency stuff, like looking at it. So the win, the overall picture of him since he went on tour. So that's obviously he's won at the Arnold Palmer before. This is 48 top 10 since he joined the PGA Tour in the 1920 season. And he's more than any other players in top 10s. Well, I'm looking through stats here now. It's just off the charts how consistent he was.
But it's like watching Tiger Woods ball striking wise, but he just wasn't getting the results over the last 12 months. Like, it's madness how it can just change in a week.
No, it's just ultra consistency, and just I'm actually warming to him as well. Like, I was always of the opinion that he was just like, his interviews are hard and his pressers are hard and he's hard to listen to, but because he's been through his putting woes, and he's a couple of shots away from a disaster at sometimes, it sort of added to him a little bit. And I'm enjoying watching him a lot more, because he's not flawless, and he has doubts in around the greens himself. Like, even yesterday on the par threes, like, his scrambling stats this week were off the charts as well. Like, he missed 22 greens and got up and down 15 times from that, looking at the stats, like, which is insane. And then he hit 32 of 56 fairways and 50 of 72 greens.
Yeah, like, it's pretty good.
It's pretty impressive. And then even when you see him yesterday, when he missing the par threes, like, it was like he was a club out.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes he was missing it, trying to miss short, but like, he just gets up and down. He hits that little low spinny one. He's the same stock shot every single time.
It's interesting the way he kind of just turned it around at the weekend, because on Saturday he was missing those 2 and 3 footers on the greens, and then it got to the point in the back nine he was leaving 5 and 6 footers for birdie, and I was almost mentally just giving it to him. Like, I'd like to see him have a run like he did in 2022, because up until probably last night you're thinking, all right, he's world number one, but he's not playing like a world number one. He's not shooting the scores like a world number one, not getting the putts a world number one should. Now you're kind of thinking, well, if he can get the putts, I'd love to see what he could actually do. Could he go and have a dominant year where he wins 2 or 3 majors, maybe wins another couple next year? Could he do something like that? Because I think golf needs that as well. Golf needs to have somebody to focus on, because I think you could argue that while he was world number one for the last 12 months, he wasn't the best player in the world.
Yeah, according to Taylor Gooch, he's not anyway.
No, if your Taylor Gooch thinks live is the Ryder Cup.
What do you think, Mark? Did you watch much of this?
Yeah, I watched nearly all of it. I hadn't intended to watch anywhere near as much as I did, but I mean, the leaderboard from an Irish perspective was just one you couldn't look away from, really.
Yeah.
I completely agree with what you said about kind of warming to Scheffler a little bit. I found myself the same, even though I was hoping every shot he hit was going to go into the water yesterday, and because Lowry was in contention. But you couldn't not feel a little bit kind of happy for him, and it sort of seemed that way amongst the crowd as well. Like, he, when he was coming up 18, and he was getting, like, obviously the winner or the champion elect always gets a great reception when he's coming on to the final green. But like, to hear like chants them all, they were all chanting his name. That's not something you kind of get every week to week on the PGA Tour. And so yeah, I think a lot of people have kind of maybe come around to him a little bit. Yeah, it was adversity of sorts that he went through with the putting. I mean, like, he won $35 million last year, so
yeah.
So nobody's gonna be feeling too sorry for him. But yeah, I mean, look, when he's just doing stuff that is off the charts with the golf ball. And funny, you were talking about like his scrambling stats, and like, his scrambling has been incredible for the last couple of years. The only reason why he's not like streets ahead in the scrambling statistics is because he missed so many short putts. He was giving himself, like, he very rarely ever hits a bad chip shot. And when you drive the ball and hit your irons as well as he does, it's nearly unfair that you're also like one of the best short game players in the world. But I'd say, kind of like, let's beware of false dawns with the putting. He had a good week and a particularly good Sunday. But this is one tournament.
Yeah.
Like,
it's one tournament with extremely hard greens, though. That's one thing I'll give him. Like, this is like, Bay Hill is a serious test, and Bay Hill, good ball striking, You know, you're hitting the ball to 30 foot the whole time. Like I've rarely seen Scottie Scheffler in the last couple of years rolling in 25, 30, 40 footers, and he rolled a few in this week every day. On top of not missing the 5 to 8 footers that he's become accustomed to missing over the last year. So this is just ominous. Like I said, highlighting that McIlroy quote, I just think this is ominous. And like it's a second win at Bay Hill. Like I said, it's a 5-stroke winning margin at ease. Like he was backing down. Like even on 16 last night, got himself in a bad light. Just hit a little chippy sand wedge up there and then get up and down like on the par 5. Like it's relentless. Like it is. I actually there was a lot of sympathy in me. I like it'd be great to pick Shane Lowry's brain on it, because like even Shane's best golf last night was not going to win that tournament. That just was not a tournament you're going to win against Scottie Scheffler in that humour, and things went south quick for Shane Lowry early doors, and that kind of nearly helped him in a way, because he gathered himself. The birdie on 9 really kicked him back into gear, and he ground out a good score, and he's been well rewarded for him. We'll get stuck into Shane in a second, but like it would be very interesting. Like his post round comments pretty much alluded to that like even if everything fell for me today, I still couldn't compete with Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah, he said it himself.
The one thing I will say,
sorry, Mark.
The one thing I will say against that is that is because nobody put pressure on Scheffler early in the round. By the time the back 9 had come around, he'd built up such a lead that, you know, I'm not going to say there was no pressure on his putting, but there was way less pressure on his putting. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if he'd have been a shot clear or something like that. I mean, obviously, if the ball striking stays the way it is, it's going to be very hard for somebody to catch him and overtake him. But like, without that additional pressure on his putting, it remains to be seen whether this is the new shot. This is Scheffler 2.0 who's just going to clean up, or whether he just had a week where things went for him.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see, but yeah, it's. I do think it's ominous. I think this is like.
Oh, it's definitely ominous.
Like
he's the only man capable of running away with the Masters.
I wouldn't say that now.
I would.
Capable of running away with it, like I think there's plenty of them capable of running away with it.
Nah, Scheffler puts, he could run away with it.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I really hope that they match him and Neiman up or something in the first round. Like do something mental like that. It'd be good to see.
I don't know. Will they give live players good tee times this time round? Well, maybe they will, because they're kind of more open to them being here this time.
Well, they've got the defending champion who is going to have to get a top billing. But even I was looking through last year's tee times, and I thought that they'd kind of banish the live players down the field, but there was a lot of them actually had pretty good, reasonably high profile tee times last year, or groupings I should say. So and Mickelson wasn't one of them. Mickelson got banished down the field, but
he stuck the 2 fingers up at them then and finished second, so he was happy enough. But no, it's just moving away from Scottie and onto Shane Lowry. Like we spoke in depth about him last week, and how this was such a vital week. Like we said, I know you highlighted it, Ronan. Like he had a horrendous record on this golf course. So to come out and do what he did this week, huge third place money, his best finish in America since April 2022, and a move right back, like well inside the world's top 50 now. I think he's up to 37th, is it?
37. So that's 37. Your year secure, really. Yeah. You can play with a bit more freedom now.
Yeah, like a few weeks ago, slipping out of the world's top 50 for the first time in 5 years. Like we highlighted last week, those doors were starting to close, and we didn't think it would happen, but if he didn't pull some results out of the fire, it could have been his last Masters. His exemptions are running out. His 2025 majors were definitely in trouble, and 4th last week, 3rd this week. It's been a massive step in his career, and he looks as though stats wise, ball striking wise, everything is pointing towards he's going to carry that form into the Players this week and do it again. it got away from him early doors, was my only concern. It did get away from early doors, and he knew the way Scheffler was playing. You're just playing for place money, so it freed him up a little bit. He wasn't so much interested in what Scottie was doing and more
He didn't
go
down,
guys.
He didn't like tumble down the leaderboard chasing.
Exactly.
Like, there was no...
Yeah.
Like, he brought himself back on the back nine, couple of late birdies, nice putt. Nice couple of putts coming down the stretch, and like that's important, like, because it has got away from him last week as well. Like, that's 2 weeks in a row. Probably the only blot you can have on him is that going into the final round with the lead, he never really contended. But I think this week was just an anomaly. Even if he played well, he hadn't had a hope in hell of beating Scheffler the way he was going.
Yeah,
to be fair. Whereas he's playing well, he's putting a lot better as well, which is,
his lag putting was class. That's one thing I will give him. His lag putting was really, really good. And he actually hold a lot of long-range putts on Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Lacked a bit of pace maybe on the Saturday, and missed the odd couple of putts. But overall, like, he's much improved in the putting, because his ball striking's always been there. Like, it must have been so frustrating for him, I suppose, the last 18 months, the way he's been hitting the ball, but he's just not getting reward for it.
Yeah. Oh, this is huge. He'll come back. He'll have a nip at Scottie at the Masters.
Kick on, will he?
He'll have a nip at Scottie at the Masters. He'll fancy himself.
I put up on Instagram there on I think Thursday after the first round. I was like, lump on him for the Masters.
On Scottie or Lowry?
Shane.
Yeah, no, he loves it out there, and he's played a lot. We were looking for stats like that actually in the print magazine. I don't know, and it was like, what is the average winning amount of starts someone has before they actually win the Masters? And it was 7 or 8. I don't know. You were doing that, Mark, were you?
I was looking into that amongst many things. I was looking into that was one of them.
And this is his 7th or 8th start, is it? It's.
He's around that, yeah, and he's around the age profile as well, I think, as well. But no, it's interesting. Like, he's had a top 25 at the Masters for the last 4 years. Obviously, third in 2022. But like, it shows like he needs kind of one bite of the cherry, or maybe even more, before he can get a win. Like, he's won once from his last 6 starts now on the PGA Tour with the lead in the final day, but he won the Open in 2019 when he led by 4 shots. It took him 3 years after winning the Irish Open to win his next one, the Portugal Masters, and like, he played well after that as well. He won in Abu Dhabi, then he went on to win the Open. So he's a kind of a block builder.
It's all about the start.
Yeah.
With Lowry, it's all about the start. He's like Leeds. Go 1-0 up, you don't lose. That's it. So it's all about the early goal.
But I think
settle the nerves.
I think he'll win this year now. I'd be more confident in saying that than I would have been 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I mean, for timing as well. I mean, he's coming into form at the perfect time. I mean, you've got big event after big event. The Players Championship coming up this week, and then obviously the Masters just around the corner. I mean, if you were going to say to somebody, pick a time of the year where you want to be playing your best golf, like, realistically, like, this is it. So I mean, it's all positive. The one critical thing I would say maybe about his putting this week is that I thought on Sunday in the early stages, I thought he was a little bit tentative. The putts were getting to the hole just about, but and I know he does like to. He's not somebody that slams the ball into the back of the hole. They talked about this on commentary quite a lot as well, but at the same time, you want to be like, you don't want the ball like falling into the hole with its last roll. You want to be like minimum 6 inches past to give it a chance. And between putts that were just not quite getting there, or putts that were kind of like dying on the lip to the side or something like that, it was just a touch tentative. But that's nitpicking. Overall, I think superb week.
Yeah.
And look, he just ran into an absolute buzzsaw on Sunday.
Yeah, I didn't see these results coming based on the thing. And like, I was kind of critical of him 2 weeks ago when I was saying he should be in Mexico. That's an opportunity missed. It's the type of golf course that would suit him, and I didn't think Bay Hill suited him, and based on the stats and this, that and the other. But he's made a really good decision. Looking back at it now, hindsight is great from my point of view, but you can tell now why he's missed Mexico, because he would have had 4 weeks in a row into the Players, then a week off, then over to the Masters. It's not great prep when you're stacking so many tournaments on. So he was lucky that he had this invite up the sleeve, and he knew he had it up the sleeve, and he was getting it, and that's it. He's taking advantage of it, and more power to him. I'm fully with Ronan. I think he'll win this year now, based on seeing that and on seeing how he's gone about his business. He's got himself into really tough situations the last 2 Sundays, and he's something fresh that's like, he'll feel he's left one of those tournaments behind. It won't be this week because Scheffler was just unmarkable this week, but going into the Players, be very interesting if he gets himself in the mix early in the Players.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the course is one that actually, when he's playing well, he's played well at. He finished 8th here and at the Players in 2021. He was 16th in 2016. He has a fair few missed cuts in there as well. But his last 3 years is 8th, 13th, and 35. And we all know, like, the 35 last year came and he wasn't playing good golf at the time. But the way he's been hitting the ball this last 2 weeks, and the way that course, like, you have to play your way around that. You don't just mash the ball and go and find it and everything. It should really play into his hands this week. And look, maybe 3 big performances 3 weeks in a row is a big ask, but he'll be fancying it.
Oh, big time!
He'll be fancying it, and I'd be like, he'll not be good odds with the bookies now after these last 2 weeks. But
he is
a top 10.
He's very good odds.
He should be.
He's very good odds this week. He's 33-1. Get on it.
Lump
on him. He's 28-1 for the Masters though, which is very disappointing.
He's 33-1 this week.
Yeah, 28-1 for the Masters. He was 50.
Yeah,
that's what you get for playing well.
That's a bit short.
Prick.
No. The Paddy Power's a prick now, not Shane. Jesus, you just need to clarify that. Jesus Christ, you get us all in trouble. Moving a little bit.
We all agree that Paddy Power's a prick.
Yeah,
a man is taking way too much money off me.
Exactly. Yeah, Cheltenham week, you're hammering him out. But yeah, lads.
Man is boiled friends and all of them.
Tied 21st for Rory. We'll get into him in a second. Seamus Power was the same, his best finish in 8 months though. Positive signs from Seamus.
Yeah, he's going well. He's going very well. Look, could have easily been a top 10, top 15. He's fortunate now he's into the big event, so he does get that chance to build on this. But no, the signs are very good, and hopefully he can keep going, because it's been a long 7-8 months for him. That hip injury really derailed his progress last year. So things are looking good. I was worried, you would have feared for him 4 or 5 weeks ago. But
big
things
time.
are looking good now.
Him and Shane, and I know one sparrow doesn't make a summer, but it feels that things are starting to turn for the two lads, and that's only good things can come out of that. But Rory McIlroy, where do we start with Rory?
The irons, like 55th in approach, 57 out of 58 in the final round. That's what it is. That's all it is. That's all that's holding him back.
He went
those left misses
on the rampage yesterday, wrecking the gaff. Like, he horsed one of the greens out with the putter. Did you see that? Like, dug a big hole in the side of the green, and he mashed up the Arnold Palmer sign, the tee box marker and stuff like that. Like, fuming. It really is getting to him. And not so much, like, he's not on his game, obviously. He's trying to find things. He has a two-way miss going on as well, which is not a nice place to be a month out from trying to complete a Grand Slam and stuff like that. But it's he couldn't be any further. This is, in some ways, I'm actually looking at it and I'm going, this is the Rory that I want to see in the lead up to the Masters, not the Rory that maybe, like in the past, he's won Bay Hill, he's won the Players, pressure ramps up. Now, he could come out and win the Players.
We've been here before.
I know we have.
But
people are starting to turn on him and just say, it's all the Scottie show now. This could piss him off. I want to see this. I want to see McIlroy coming out like he has to prove something. Like,
yeah, I was taking all the silver linings out of these clouds. He's just deliberately trying to stay under the radar. He's hitting bad shots nearly on purpose, and then he went and absolutely destroyed that tee marker. Like he said, it's like, no, this is definitely a guy who is
he's trying
pissed off. To drive again. Okay, only Scottie Scheffler drove the ball better than him, and when we're talking about Scheffler being possibly the greatest driver ever, it's between him and McIlroy, and they panned out that way this week. But yeah, I mean the shots he hit, and some of the shots he hit into the water, like he wasn't even remotely close. It wasn't like this is caught the bank and bounced back in. Like he missed some greens by 15 yards, like or hit the water by 15 yards. He's got a lot of work to do. And he is playing a lot of tournaments still. He's got the players, and he's going to have the Valero Texas Open in the meantime. And that was his plan. He talked about it, ahead of the Masters this year. He wanted to play more to get into competitive modes, to fine tune his game that way. But the ironic thing is, you're kind of like, a couple of a week on the range could actually be what the doctor ordered to sort out. Particularly with your irons.
Yeah, it's an interesting one with him. It will be, and it'll be like he's just trying to he's played a lot of recovery golf this week. Bay Hill will amplify any mistakes. The Saturday was the really good in Rory McIlroy that you see, he got himself into the tournament. The back nine was,
but I mean, he caught fire in the back nine, but over the front nine he was over the front nine on Saturday was what he's been all week. And the really frustrating thing about it is that by playing 9 good holes, he suddenly got himself back into the tournament now, tentatively back into the tournament. As it happened, he would have had to shoot a course record to even get near Scheffler on Sunday. But I mean, with 9 good holes, he was suddenly back in the tournament. And that is the really frustrating thing about him, is that that's always there, lurking beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Laura Davies said it. He played well for 9 holes because the pressure was off.
That's the worst he could play as well. Collectively for a tournament for the week, that's the worst he could play, and he's finishing tied 21st. I know he's only judged on wins. But it's not going to take much to get him to where this week he'll be very interesting. Off the back of a result like that he'll be so pissed off going away from that golf course. Into the Players, another tournament that he's won in the past. Was back in 2019 when he had his Players win. So
he's won. He has won the Players, but in general he's been pretty dreadful at the Players. That's the win is really the outlier in his in his trend at this tournament. So I mean, given how unsure he is with his game at the moment, I can't really think of a worse golf course for him to be going to the week after. Because he's come into the Players playing really well so many years, and the course has just beaten him up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what price he is this week, but
I wouldn't even look. I'd say he's still in the favourites, but it's just he just needs to when you look at him compared to Scottie Scheffler, they're on different planets now, ball striking wise. But a lot of it's shot choice as well. Rory just takes on some mental shot, where Scottie Scheffler is just purely statistically better with his decision making. Just picks easy, simple shots, executes them well, and takes his chances. Whereas Rory seems to be constantly chasing now. He backs himself into a hole, goes chasing, mistakes come on. But yeah, we could talk about Rory all day. But it's it's going to be a very, very interesting week.
I mean, you say Rory's chasing, but he's driving the ball so well. He's putting himself in positions where you're like you can't from here. I can't not go at that pin. If you're 40 yards further back, and maybe don't have the perfect angle into a flag, then of course that the middle of the green is the smart option, whatever. But when you're putting the ball where he's putting it off the tee, you have to go for the pins. And then he's missing them by a long way.
Yeah. Short-sighting himself all over the place. But no, it'll be Sawgrass could amplify these errors, or he could click. So interesting to see. His comments earlier on in the week really took me by surprise. He calling for a more cutthroat PGA Tour. He knows it won't be popular and stuff like that. Just getting away from the tournament itself and the sort of storylines from it. It's I didn't like to see these comments. I don't know what you boys thought about it. What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, he kind of clarified them then the day after that, but I suppose initially maybe it's a reaction to some of the winners that we've had on the PGA Tour so far this year and the exemptions that they're now able to get. I didn't really like it, but he did clarify in saying he wants to see a pathway for like younger players coming off the Corn Ferry Tour, which I think is initially what he did mean to say. He just got blown out of proportion. It's just McIlroy, full stop though. Like, he speaks his mind and it's all over social media then after that as well. But I agree with him, but I don't agree with the way he wanted to go about it. I think there is a need for probably a more cutthroat PGA Tour, but get rid of the signature events and just, I don't know, just make it better, because the signature events just aren't really working. They've sucked the life out of the PGA Tour, making like every second or third week relatively unwatchable, which, you know, isn't good. So I think if as a cutthroat PGA Tour goes, I think something needs to be done around the signature events, not really minimising fields or card holders or players.
They have a lot of messing to do. They have a lot of tweaking to do. Like, I see the opposite side of that. I know Wyndham Clark got asked about Rory's comments and he came in and said, yeah, I kind of agree with him, you know, cut it off at 100, stuff like that, and do it. But, like, a lot of people were on his back then just highlighting the fact of, 3 years ago you were world number 330-something. How did you get in here? Or what's it? That's the thing. There's a lot of pulling the ladders up behind them. Where Lucas Glover came out with some interesting comments just around the stuff, around McIlroy's comments and at the start of the week, and just in signature events in general. I don't like the idea of it at all. He said it's selfish and it's a money grab. Nothing that has happened in the last 2 years in golf, and most notably on the PGA Tour, in my opinion, will help the game. He goes deeper into it then. I've yet to figure out what's so bad out here that we have to change all the things that we've done. He's 44 years of age and he's like coming near the end and stuff like that. But like, in some ways I agree with what Rory's saying about consequence and there needs to be more a cutthroat PGA Tour. But I think it needs to be very cutthroat. Like, the way these guys are saying it is, cut it off at 100 cards and do it that way and maybe drop 20 guys. That's really easy for Wyndham Clark to say, who's benefited from being on the outside looking in the past 3 seasons. I think they actually need to go more cutthroat and only have 50 cards and have a tournament then that the 50 to 100 play off against all the Corn Ferry guys and the other guys, and it's up down. Like, I want to see more churn of the Justin Thomases and Ricky Fowlers and guys like that aren't necessarily given what they're making. Like, they're not consistent enough to be there. And I hate sort of legacy clinging on to cards and stuff like that. It's fine with McIlroy because he gives so much every tournament he goes to and he is the juice for stuff like that. But if they want consequence, and this is why players won't go for it, like you've all the mid-table guys, like guys that are finished, you know, in around Shane Lowry's mark where he was last week. Like, it would be horrible to think that they'd have to play off against other guys coming through. But if they want a proper cutthroat PGA Tour, they need to go heavy on that and just literally survival of the fittest. You're not keeping your tour card based off, like, the exemptions are way too long in some of these tournaments that people are getting, like 2-3 year exemptions for winning average tournaments. And now winning is hard, but still it's one good week and you're a staple for 2 years. They're being paid so much money. Until they're contracted, they shouldn't have the job security they have.
I think in some ways this is consistent with what McIlroy has kind of been talking about a lot lately with the World Tour idea, and getting all the best players playing together at the same time and everything. I mean, I don't think he was, when you're talking about it being more cutthroat, it is kind of the way I read into it, at least what you were kind of saying there about like cutting back on the exemptions. Like there's guys playing with, they're there on career money exemptions. There are guys playing there that are on 300 made cut to, like, okay, not this week, but on a sort of week to week in the PGA Tour, there's tons of these exemptions that the players have, and it's not offering the the real up and coming players the opportunity to get on. I mean, that's like, I like McIlroy's idea of it being much more cutthroat, as long as you have opportunities for the guys that are playing the best golf at present to get into these tournaments. Then you're gonna be all for that. And I think Wyndham Clark, I mean, yeah, he was outside it. I think did Wyndham mention something about like having like maybe like 20 people getting relegated off?
Yeah, he backtracked a little bit on the stuff. Yeah, he did. He said like
kind of. Yeah, I mean, I agreed with most of what he said. Apart from that, I mean, you need to have way
more consequence,
way more than that. I mean, like if 50 of the spots are, up for grabs, if you don't finish in the top 50, you have to get your way back in or whatever. Then that's. I mean, I think everybody would be okay with that.
Everybody except the players. But it's gone beyond the players.
The guy finishing 51.
Yeah, no, it's gone beyond the players. Like it's what's going to serve golf best long term into the future and what to do. And there's going to be a lot of people's nose put out of joint. Like McIlroy's comments on a whole, they're easy for him to make because of where he's at in the game. Wyndham Clark a little bit more so. You ask anybody a little further down, and they're probably all looking over their shoulders. They know change is coming, and it's a career. They're trying to make as much money as they can, and you can understand there why Lucas Glover is referring to it as a money grab, and with where he's at in his career. So you have so many different age categories, different exemption profiles, different players. Like Lucas Glover, no one would have missed Lucas Glover if he was gone. He knows that now himself. Like he had a really good season last year, and finished strong in the year and stuff like that, and he's had a good career out of golf. But it's such a fine balancing act now to find how world golf goes forward. I don't envy them at all, because you're going to have to piss a lot of people off and cut short a lot of players' careers that otherwise probably would be there for a lot longer. But the game just needs evolution, needs more of a churn rate, and just needs to be a little bit more fast-paced, like.
Yeah, and again, the main beneficiaries of like having the best 100 players in the world all playing regularly against one another are us as the fans, and that's. I mean, I don't care if the players are pissed off. In fact, I want them pissed off.
Yeah,
because if they're pissed off, it probably means they're not being pandered to the same way they have been. So yeah, I'm all for it.
No, interesting times ahead. But moving off the PGA, I think that's everything from PGA Tour, is it, lads? Anything else you want to get into on PGA Tour?
No, move on.
No.
What about the Wyndham Clark possible penalty?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on that? I mean, because you talk about consequence, like it cost Shane Lowry 400 grand.
Yeah. Made Wyndham about $1 million quid.
More.
Yeah, it's about $1 million quid Wyndham made out of the ruling. But like, very hard to quantify and prove that he actually done something. And the rules are stacked up that once a player hasn't made any effort to sort of address, move a ball, you can't, like, a player's going to be taken at its word as words. I know Brandel went off the wall on Golf Channel giving out about it, but yeah, I wasn't like. I'm not too fussed about it, to be honest. I don't know. What's your opinions on it? What do you think?
In general, like, I don't think he was doing anything particularly wrong.
Yeah.
But we've seen plenty of these incidents. I mean, the John Ram one at the Memorial a few years ago comes to mind. I think it was the Memorial, wasn't it? Where he was given a 2-shot penalty, chipped in on a hole. It would have been for a birdie and a par 3, and ended up getting changed to a bogey after the round. But I mean, the video evidence on that was probably even less clear cut than on Wyndham Clark. So I mean, Wyndham Clark's ball moved.
Yeah, like, it's just did he cause it to move? That's what you can't prove. And that's where I think the referees are more now.
But I think you have to be well, okay, we are talking about a couple of years ago. If that's going to be the trend moving forward, that like the likes of the penalty that Ram got a few years ago, if that same incident now is not going to be penalised, then that's fine. But it's going to have to be consistent.
Yeah. Well, you'd like to think they will, but I wouldn't. I know that there was a big deal made about it, but I'm not. I don't think it's a mountain over molehill stuff. I don't. What do you think, Ronan? Are you?
I didn't agree with all the hoopla on social media. I don't think he could have seen that ball moving the way he was putting the club down, how high the grass was, just that eye angle looking straight down. I just don't see how he'd be able to notice. He wasn't trying to improve his lie. He was trying to just see, okay, if I put the club here, how can I get at the ball?
Yeah, how deep is the rough under the ball?
What's it going to play like? And I just think, just move on. Like, it wasn't Patrick Reed style.
Digging behind it, like.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have the bucket and spade out like P. Reed. So, right, on to DP World Tour. Still down in South Africa. Great news stories coming out of this. We'll start off with Tom McKibbin first. Another huge week for Tom. Like, it's a kind of it's like one that he let get away. Before you get stuck into it, Ronan, because I know you've a bit to say on this. Like 6 tournaments so far in 2024, 9th this week in South Africa to add to 25th, 14th, 16th, 4th and 12th. Like, he is just so consistent. He's only 21 years of age, knocking just outside the world's top 100 now. He is closing in on another win.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, I wonder internally will he be kicking himself, because it's big numbers over the last 2 tournaments that have probably cost him not a win, but certainly being there with 6 holes to go, having a chance to win. He could have been the youngest player to win 2 times on the European Tour, beating McIlroy's record if he had got over the line. But like, so many positives, up to 125 in the world, his highest world ranking, touching on that top 100. If he gets into top 100, major championship debut at the PGA could come his way. But I think he's probably the best player on the DP World Tour who doesn't have one of those 10 PGA Tour cards.
Yeah.
Like, he is that good at the moment. He was consistent last year outside of his win, but he's just gone up another level. Those top 25s and top 20s are turning into top 12s, top 10s, top 5s now. He's 24th in the race to Dubai. Like, he's going to be challenging for a PGA Tour card this year, which is what his goal was.
He's up to 19th in the race to Dubai.
19th now.
Yeah, he went up 5 spots this week.
So there again, like, it's such an early start to the year, and he's already well up there in contention. I just think he can do what he likes this year. Honestly, I think he can win 2-3 times.
Whoa, that'd be great. It'd be so good. Like,
I think once one comes, like, I think there'll be a barrage of them coming. Like, he's playing that well.
Yeah. He fears nothing now. He's so good. Like, he fears absolutely nothing. It's just the start in the final round, like opening with a 7, is just, that would kill anybody's momentum, obviously, but it would mentally.
He came flying back.
But he absolutely lashed back down with a rake of birdies. Like, I think he went 7 birdies without drop shots after he did that.
Triple bogey, 3 birdies in a row then. Like, it's just nuts. And he was still in the mix, actually, to be fair to him. He got himself kind of back into it.
He got himself back to 20 under at one stage.
And then he bogeyed 15 and 16. Yeah. He wouldn't have won it anyway, but a big finish, you never know. Like, but it was a shame. But still, 9th place.
I mean, once he got to minus 20, he knew he needed to probably get to minus 24 to have any sort of a chance.
Yeah.
Still would have come up short if things panned out the way it was. So, I mean, he had to play like super aggressive. And I mean, you're like, I know the scoring was like really low. I think it was 26 under won it with Manassero, which is, I mean, incredibly low scoring. But it wasn't an overly easy golf course. Like, it was pretty tight. You had to, if you were wayward off the tee, there were big numbers waiting. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him on the first hole on Sunday, because the TV coverage didn't come on until he was playing the second. So, and they just, and like, I was remember looking to see where his name had disappeared off the leaderboard. It's what had to go onto the app and realize that, geez, he had a 7. So yeah, not sure exactly what happened there, but I'd imagine it was probably as a result of a tee shot, a lost ball, or something like that.
Yeah, it's just a bit mad. Like, it is just, but like to bounce back the way he did was just, it's insane. So yeah, no,
He was the best putter in round 4 as well.
Yeah,
which wouldn't be his strongest point putting, but he's making good strides at that this year. 20th overall in putting. He's 5th in driving accuracy for the year.
Yeah,
like he's a really, really good driver of the golf ball.
His skill set is just totally honed for the States. If he can just get off this tour and get to the States, he will. And he's now like he's getting himself into the category area that one good result actually gets him into the world's top 100, which he would have needed. Or like one really good result gets him well inside now, and it'll just open so many doors to him. And once he gets over to the States and gets to play a little bit, he has so many levels left in his game. He's just going to kick straight on, and there's no stopping him. So no, I agree with you. I think getting 3 or 4 wins might be a bit too much of an ask. But
I said 2 or 3.
2 or 3, okay.
A
couple of wins, a couple of wins well within his grasp. But he just needs to get over the line soon, I think, and actually get inside the world's top 100 and get on that transatlantic flight and get as far away from the DP World Tour as possible.
I mean, I guess because he's been so consistent, and we're talking about him week in, week out, being up there. I mean, it is so easy to forget that this is only his second year on the DP World Tour.
Yeah.
But again, I kind of go back to what I said last week. Opportunities for really high finishes don't come around that easy. He's put himself in great position. He would have been disappointed the week before last week not to have had a real run at it on Sunday. And I mean the same thing again this week. He sets really high standards for himself. He'll not be satisfied with another top 10 finish and $30,000 or whatever, €30,000, whatever he got for it.
Yeah.
And to secure that spot in the top 10 and get over to the PGA Tour, he's probably going to have to win. Or if he doesn't win, he's going to have to turn maybe top 10s into, a third place finish or a second runner up,
No, definitely.
And these are weeks where he's had the opportunity to do that, and he just hasn't quite got there. So
yeah. No, it's progression again. It's always good news around Tom. So long may it continue. But the big news story coming out of South Africa this week was my man Matteo Manassero.
You're still on course.
I'm on course. And that's what I was just checking last night. Does this win get him into all the signature events and all the majors and everything like that as well? Had to go through the stats, but it's hard to believe. 3,942 days between his 4th and 5th wins in the DP World Tour. He slipped as low as 1,805 on the official World Golf Rankings. It just takes so much guts and graft to dig your way out of a slump like that and win again. And when he was down on the Challenge Tour, I think I said this last year, I followed him around the K Club. He's always been a player that sort of just, you'd be scratching your head going, how is this lad? He's so talented. How is he down here? And followed him around the K Club the year before last and watched him. And he was starting his resurgence at that stage on the Challenge Tour, hitting the ball well. And it's so good to see him back. It really is. And there's another player that has levels to his game, has a bit of adversity as well. He's going to take any opportunities that present themselves in front. And now that the pressure's off him, he's got a tour win again. He is all his exemptions wrapped up and stuff like that. He's another one that you would say, Matteo Manassero, when we go back 10 years, he's in the world's well inside the world's top 50. He's still a young man.
He's only 30.
Yeah,
he's still looking probably at your peak years.
Yeah, it is insane. Stage. So, and he's learned so much about how to do things, how not to do things, how to navigate the game. He is going to be a dangerous man going forward for the rest of the year. And I would say he's nearly a shoe-in for one of the 10 cards. The way he is the way he's gone about the start of this season, and I think he's going to have an unbelievable season.
Yeah, he's 13th race to Dubai now, so he's well up there. Moved up 72 places. I think he moved up 199 places in the world rankings. It's brilliant to see him back. Like, he was class, the youngest winner of the PGA, BMW PGA in Wentworth. Like, this man was the real deal. Made the cut at the Masters age 16. Like, this guy was supposed to be the man. Like, this guy should have been playing at the Ryder Cup in Rome last year.
Yeah,
he should have been the star man. But it just shows you.
It's just kind of how quickly it went downhill for him when it started going downhill before. I mean, he dropped off the face of the earth. I mean, to win the BMW PGA and like not make a Ryder Cup team was pretty astounding, really, especially given like how well he played before that, and the way his game was trending. How many is that? 6 wins he has on
5
on tour. 5.
Yeah.
I mean, and those all happened, over a reasonably short period of time. To have that level of success, and then, not even like I don't even remember like being like sort of like in the mix or talked about as potential Ryder Cup captain's pick for Medina.
Yeah,
which so that's, I mean, before we like all herald the return of the king, I say, like, let's see him string this together for. Yeah, he had a good year in the Challenge Tour last year. He started really, really well this year. But let's give him another year to 18 months, and if he's still producing it, then you could be on for your major prediction yet.
What was the major prediction? Say it to anyone who doesn't remember.
I said I call this like 12, 13, when he was 16, 17, 18, whatever age he was. I said to my brother, I followed him. He played a practice round with Tom Watson around the Open in Turnberry, actually, that Watson nearly won. So that's how long this is going back. That's 2008 or something, 2009. Something around that time anyway. And I remember following him around. He was an amateur at the time, and McIlroy was obviously out and just gone and started his career. And I said to my brother, he'll win more majors than Rory McIlroy. That backfired fairly fast. But no, I've always had a keen eye on Manny just to see, so it was great to see him back and great to see him trucking along. Were any of the other Irish lads playing in South Africa?
No, just Tom.
Just Tom. So nothing else to talk about there.
No.
Next. Liv. This was on a bit early in the morning for me now, trying to stay dry down in Portugal. So I got to see some of the highlights, seen the important bits. Seen Anthony Kim pull out a 65 out of nowhere, which, yeah, we'll get into Anthony Kim now in a second, but like Abe Answer's final round 72 definitely opened the door for others to come in, and Cameron Smith and Paul Casey forced a playoff down in Hong Kong, but Answer responded with a first playoff hole birdie and secured his first individual live golf title. But yeah, like from the highlights I seen, it was wet, it was damp, it was cold. It wasn't the best of tournaments, but wasn't the greatest of leaderboards for most of it either. It was the probably the weakest heading of a field of a live event this year. But great to see Cam Smith find a bit of form.
Yeah, Mark was on this, wasn't he?
Course.
Mark was on this, so he'll probably be able to talk better than I will. But just looking at the leaderboard, I wouldn't get out of bed to watch Abe Answer play golf. He was in my back garden,
Or Paul Casey.
No. But G-Mac had another good week, which is good to see. Bit of a mad card in his final round. He started off par, birdie, eagle. Then he had 4 bogeys in 6 holes, and then 2 birdies coming down the stretch on his first round. Third round, he finished with 3 birdies in his last 5 or 6 holes. Like he's going all right.
He's hanging around with Brooksy now. That's it. He's flying with the big boys. He knows he's turned it on.
Whatever Brooks is drinking, I'm drinking.
Probably harp.
Harp.
What do you think, Mark? Anyway, what were I know you were covering this in the hole.
Yeah, it's look, Answer for the first 2 days, Answer was incredible. Particularly the second round. I think he hit all 18 greens, shot 8 under. It was like but it's a golf course that's kind of tailor made for the likes of a player that the likes of Answer. 6,700 yards, which and a par 70. But I mean, 6,700 yard course is like a pitch and putt to to a lot of these guys. But it's so tight, it's so tree lined. You have to really put yourself in play off the tee. And Answer for the first 2 days, he was just incredible doing that. And on Sunday, then he was just like a deer in the headlights for a lot of it. And I couldn't. Yeah, and when it got to the playoff, I remember writing this in the report. It was almost as if like somebody hit like the factory reset button on him, and he just went out and
plugged him out like a router.
The answer that we saw in the playoff was just exactly the guy that was there for the first 2 days, just on point. Casey blew his tee shot way right, didn't have a shot at the green, and Cam Smith haven't got to the playoff. You're like, he's going to be the man here. Stood up and just like hit a terrible approach into the green, left himself in the bunker, plugged in the bunker. Answer ended up, birdieing it to win. He had two putts from 3 feet for it. Like, overall, not a great tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, we've often talked about the idea of the World Tour and bringing golf to all these other places. Then they have a tournament in Hong Kong, and you kind of remember why you don't really want that. I mean, we're kind of spoiled with US golf is always on like prime time on our televisions here. Like the live golf is on at 4 o'clock in the morning, like finishing up at 9 or whatever. So it's a tough watch for people over here. And then when you have Answer and Burmeister leading after the opening day and everything, it's not really that enticing. I mean, professional responsibility got me out of bed to watch the final round, but it's not the most memorable one.
On the leaderboard though as well, like the Crushers did it again in the team golf. So again, savage final round. They did this last week as well. 14 under.
I still can't get into the
yeah, I know you can't. Yeah. But I never noticed it. But yeah, Crushers. So DeChambeau, Casey, Chucky Three Sticks, and Lahiri finished 2 shots ahead of Torquay GC and a shot further back then to Ripper. The Majestic's actually getting their shit together. Poulter, Westwood, Stenson, and Horsfield. They're a shot outside, shot off the podium. Go on, the lads.
Joaquin Neiman had another great final round. He ended up just coming up 1 shot shy of the playoff, but he had a hole in one on the final round as well. So he's now got 2 wins. He shot a 59 and he's had a hole in one and earned over $13 million in 4 events this year. So he's playing pretty good golf.
And a mad turn up for events as well. So if you look at the team standings this week, Legion 13 finished last. Even the Range Goats beat them.
Yeah,
the Ironheads.
We're still bottom 3 though. Still the relegation places.
Yeah, they're down. They did a Burnley on it now last week, but no, it was like looking at the leaderboard and looking the way things panned out. There wasn't too many storylines. Like the biggest storyline, definitely on the last day, anyway, outside the winners and that side of things, was Anthony Kim putting in like only 3 players bettered him on the final day out of the 54, and he shot a final round 65, which is off the charts really when you think of where he's come from what he did last week to how he finished this week. It was just a bit crazy.
Yeah, I said last week that he'd only had 4 birdies over the 3 rounds and had a ton of doubles and everything like that thrown in. And I said that the doubles and bogeys weren't the concerning thing. It was the lack of birdies really, because obviously you can clean up, you can tidy up the bogeys and doubles, but you have to be giving yourself birdie chances on the other holes. And even though he didn't really catch fire obviously in the first 2 days, he still finished 50th out of 54. So I mean, it's even with the final round 65, the first 2 days were extremely ordinary at best. but he had 7 birdies in that final day, and like that's extremely encouraging for for going forward. If we're going to see anything, if we're going to see a genuine professional golfer out of him. Still, like I still said, if he finishes in the top 20 in an event this year, I'd be very surprised. That's still the case, but this was a massive step in the right direction.
And when you look at it as well, you see reports coming out. Like I seen on Twitter, the Flushing It Golf account came out and said, just spoke with Anthony Kim's caddy, and he confirmed that he still hasn't been fit for his golf equipment, so they've no idea what his consistent numbers are. That's off the charts. So he's playing with a set off the shelf of stuff that he thinks suit his game but aren't quite there yet. They're going to get him properly fit before the return to Doral next month. So that's bananas to think. And then like other people coming in, he also didn't know how to use TrackMan and stuff like that. Like this guy just must have went under a rock for 12 years, like just stayed so far away from anything got to do with golf. He just didn't care.
It's what was he doing in the weeks and months leading up to returning? Like, I mean, assuming
loads of drugs by the looks of him.
Golf again.
Loads of drugs by the looks of him. Like, but like we won't. I don't want to end up in the high court with this. But like, yeah, we'll cut it off at that. But yeah, he was definitely having fun.
Yeah, one eye looking at you, one looking at the bus coming.
But no, it's all a bit mad. But like he finished ahead of a good few players. Like he beat Mickelson this week. I know. It's just
Mickelson shot 10 over the first day.
Yeah,
10 over, 3 doubles, no birdies. That was like that was a golf course that was just an absolute nightmare course for Mickelson. Like a narrow course like that. It was like Le Golf National, who he was from in the Ryder Cup. Just he had no business playing on a golf course like that.
Yeah, no, it is. But like they're back to the States now. It's more watchable when they get back. It's in Doral the week before the Masters. So yeah, be interesting to see a bit of a gap towards then how certain players start to find their way into form and stuff like that for leading up to the Masters. So it's a big couple of weeks for a lot of them. But no, interesting stuff ahead. So right, we'll get stuck into Roundup. We're dragging on a bit this week. So on the LPGA, Steph Meadows back in action this week, Ronan.
Yeah, 8th place over there, and I think it was in China. I think it was. Leona didn't play this week, but Steph making, I think, just her second start of the season. The start of the LPGA is so weird. Like, it's just so scattered and stagnated. You don't know when people are playing. 70, 68, 70, 69 for an 11 under total. 8 shots off the eventual winner, Bailey Tardy. Great American name. But no, great to see Meadow playing well. Like, having not played for a few weeks, not since January. Like, so plenty of birdies in there. Good finish as well. 2 final round. 4 under back 9, 69 final round. So all the signs are good.
Into the Golf Ireland stuff then with the student series on.
Yeah, Alan Hill won the student tour series France at Le Golf National. Won a playoff for his first win. Actually, he's been knocking on the door for a good 5 years now at this stage as Hill. Former West of Ireland semi-finalist, so probably should be no surprise that he won at a tough golf course. It's cool though, because he's had a persistent wrist injury since then, which kind of curtailed his last couple of years. So he still plays with it and he still struggles with pain. So it's great to see him get a win. Kate Lanigan was second then in the women's section. She leads the women's Order of Merit. Obviously with Palmer Cup places in Lahinch this year on the line. Ryan Griffin also leads the Order of Merit on the men's side, so it'd be great to see those two on the Palmer Cup. They can keep it going. Arizona State won the Darius Rucker with Beth Coulter coming up trumps on the final day. A really clutch late birdie on the 17th to get them over the line there. And then Anna Dawson was second as well in one of her events. And then we had a Spanish senior double now. After Joe Lyons won a couple of weeks back, Laura Webb was a joint winner of the Spanish senior, so maybe she didn't get to keep the trophy because I don't hear any Ryanair scandals this week.
I'd say they chartered it back for her. No, it's funny. I seen Beth Coulter's win, actually. She won. Did you see that team photos? She won a guitar.
Did she?
Did you see that, the team photos? Like, it's a guitar for the thing.
It's better than some of the prizes I've gotten.
Yeah, some crack.
Practical.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no pro shop voucher available, no.
Right, heroes and villains, lads. Heroes. Do you want me to get started? I'll get started this week. So that NXXXXXT tour, I have to give them a mention. It's the thing that got the most comments that you stuck up online when I was away. It just went bonkers. But for anyone that wasn't keeping up, so transgender golfer Hailey Davison won on this tour earlier in the year and was trying to play her way through the professional ranks. So they've literally changed the rules last week and threw her out. So she's not allowed to tee it up at a women's event going forward. I say fair play to them. They're protecting the integrity of the women's game. And it was a loophole that shouldn't be there in the first place, and they've closed it off, and now Hailey will have to go back to men's golf.
Very FAI kind of thing to do. Wait till there's a big massive occasion just to drop something underneath the carpet there. International Women's Day, they dropped this.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I didn't even see that. International Women's Day, yeah, stuff. All right, yeah, so they're my heroes for changing things around and just making things right again. Go on, Ronan.
My hero is Edward April for one of the comments he left on the article online. If you have a cock, you are a male.
That's what he wrote. Someone, Jesus Christ.
It's funny, like all the bloody bots we have commenting, this man comes out. Questionable last name though, April, but I let it slide. That was a great comment.
Right, surely you a better hero than this now. He's like, Mark, go on.
My hero is good old Paddy Harrington, offering hope out there to the hopeless. Harrington reckons that he can get any golfer to play for 9 handicap. I know some absolute hackers that if he can get them to single figures, he's an absolute miracle worker. But fair play to him. What a man. He's Paddy Golf Tips, one of the best watches on YouTube.
He's very good. Look, he's even said in that press conference, he even said that some of the guys in the locker room had said to him, "Oh, you helped me with your tips and stuff like that." That like some of his guys that are playing in the senior events were looking at it and said, "Oh yeah, I actually picked up a tip from that. I learned something from that." So yeah, it's gas. Right,
90% of it is absolutely off the wall stuff in proper Harrington fashion and everything, but it's just also good to watch regardless.
Yeah, stuff.
Wow,
right,
man.
Villains. Do you have any villains? Apart from the referee that didn't give Liverpool the penalty there in the 95th minute. Dodge.
Oh, say no more. Say no more about that. Look, I'm just glad I know what playing the ball in a reasonable position means. So, every day is a school day. No, my villain... I don't know. There was a lot of bitching this week there, wasn't there? Probably going to go for... Azinger, maybe, what he said about the PGA Tour becoming like the qualifier for Liv or something.
Tour,
yeah. Just go away. Like,
you take anything
at all.
You take anything the Zinger says with a pinch of salt.
Smiley Kaufman's a close second. He was doing some sort of commentary nonsense with Max Homa, like, God's sake. But I'm going to give it to Azinger.
Azinger. Right, Mark?
I mean, mine has to be Wyndham Clark. Not because of the ball, the potential 2-shot penalty incident, only because I was... suddenly jumped off my couch last night and roared, "Yeah, prick," or something like that into the TV when he rolled.
Oh, when he holed the putt,
26-footer, the last.
Cost Lowry a BMW X5.
It was nothing personal against him, but just for the reaction I let out, and it kind of has to be him.
Yeah, and mine was a toss up between just Wyndham Clark and Rory for the comments they made. Like I know they're coming from a good place and they're doing that, but there's no need for players to be mixing it up for leave it to people to do. There's just a serious amount of kite flying going on, and it's like an election year. It's just play golf, Rory. Just stop making silly comments.
You say leave it to the vice chairman of the Enterprise aboard Tiger Woods.
Yeah, exactly. But I seen all that was released there last week when I was away as well. All that new executive board and the chairman, and yeah, it's great to see Jay Monahan getting a better job than the one he already has. There's another villain. But his press conference is coming up tomorrow. Actually, that's going to be really interesting. So that'll be the highlight of my week. Starting off that, listen to whatever shite Jay is going to pedal down. But
he's always horrendous to listen to.
Yeah, no, that's it. So
his press conference is going to last about 60 minutes, and he's going to say
nothing. 4
things of note.
Exactly, absolutely nothing that you don't know already. But yeah, they should bring Yasser out for it. Make it interesting, But right, I think that's a wrap for the week, lads. Cheers for joining me, and cheers to everyone for listening in. We will be back next week. We're getting closer to major season, so all these big tournaments coming thick and fast. So we've the Players' Championship and more other stuff coming up. Follow irishgolfer.ie on any of the social channels, or visit the website. Or indeed sign up for the daily email newsletter that you get it straight out. So our events are tipping away as well. I didn't mention them last week, but we have an Open Series Irish Golfer events. They're selling out quite fast, so if you do want to get in and play in any of our open events, do visit the event section on the website. So from us here, thanks for tuning in, and we will chat to you again next week. Bye.